saw this footage from Brazil with Bolsonaro's supporters raising what seems to be some kind of Nazi salute. And if his supporters are Nazis, or if he's a Nazi, then it's probably just as well that he's lost the election. He's lost power in Brazil. And then the Nazi salute came up again when CNN showed some footage from Ukraine, and this gentleman on top of a car appeared to raise his hand in what looked like possibly a Nazi salute. Could it be? This guy on Twitter is arguing the case that it's not. He's rather sarcastically saying, remember kids, left hand raise equals Nazi salute. Is this just as simple as someone raising their arm and it being portrayed by certain people with an agenda as a Nazi salute? Is it actually just a guy raising his hand? Not sure. Obviously, this Twitter user who doesn't have a blue tick, so obviously can't afford $8 or whatever it is, they have the Ukraine flag in their bio and the LGBTQ plus in there as well. So they wouldn't want to think that anyone in Ukraine could be giving the Nazi salute. And maybe he's not. Maybe this was just an arm raised, but because there are some people in Ukraine, a small minority of them, for whom the Nazi salute is something that they regularly perform, when we see something like this, we can quickly leap on it and say, look, he's doing a Nazi salute, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he wasn't. But certainly sometimes we're quick to point at some people doing what looks like a Nazi salute whilst look the other way when other people do it. And that was seen as a bit of a faux pas from CNN to let that footage go out. Whether it's a real salute or not, CNN wouldn't want to be portraying people in Ukraine as having those kind of sympathies. This guy, though, Donald J. Trump, who's just announced that he's in the mix for the presidency again, here he is doing what seems to look a little bit like a Nazi salute. Is it? Would he really do that? I'm not sure. His followers sometimes do what looks like a kind of weird one finger salute, which kind of resembles a Nazi salute. And didn't this come from the Romans? Is this not what's known as a Roman salute? Talking of which, here's a famous Italian fascist but not Nazi. A while back, Paolo Di Canio used to be seen giving what we call a Nazi salute. He'll call it a fascist salute. And he is Italian and regards himself, identifies as a fascist. Is it possible to be a fascist without being a Nazi or without being racist? I think Paolo Di Canio maintains that you can. And fascism in Italy under Mussolini was not as racist as Nazism in Germany. There wasn't the same focus on race. And I think fascism in Italy was closely linked to corporatism, when corporations, along with the government, are in control of a country. And if you think about how much influence certain corporations have over us, how much control they have at the moment, you might be forgiven for thinking about that term fascism. But really, it's not a term that we should throw around lightly. We have our human rights. We have our democracy. I don't think anyone in the West is really living under fascism, and I don't think many people would want to. But what about in the East? Here's Modi giving what looks like a bit of an old Nazi salute. And of course, the Nazis, as we've mentioned before, were fascinated with India and Hinduism and the Aryanism. Of course, the Aryans are the tribes that invaded the northern part of India and pushed out the Dravidians to the south at the height of their civilization. But we could probably talk about that another time. So you let me know which of these salutes was a genuine Nazi salute and which were just a guy innocently raising his arm in the air.